Welcome.
Thank you. How good is this?
Welcome, Yo, to Singapore and also to Selah Studios. Krista is lending us her studio. How's it being back, even though you were just back like a month ago?
Well, this time they didn't lose my suitcase. I'm really happy to be back. Yeah, like straight away, I've already eaten so much good stuff.
Oh, really?
It's been like less than
Such
24
a
hours.
glutton.
Yeah, I do. I eat a lot.
But anyway, I heard that you're in town because you have like a new single coming up, right?
Yes, it's coming out. When does this go to air?
22nd.
All right. Okay, it should be out by then, by a long time.
So it's your new single that's out with Kitty Purrnaz, and I heard that she's an old friend of yours, right?
Yes. We met a really long time ago in Darwin, Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's based in Singapore now, but she used to live there.
Yeah, she's been based in Singapore for a little while now. But I think for a long time, her family was back and forth between here and there.
I see. I felt like, as a longtime fan, and like I felt that it's like a super different sound for you, like working together with her. So can you share a little bit about like the references or like direction that came to mind when you guys started working together on Little Secret?
Yeah, I think I've always just admired her production and pop songwriting. She's really, really good at that. This was evident when I met her, she was like 19 in Darwin, and she supported us at the Railway Club, which is really, it's almost like a RSL kind of venue, but it was still really quite nice. But she was just so, she's a kid, and like, but like blew us all away with her production and her songs. And it turns out that she can sing really well. And then so when we got together in the studio, this was, I can't remember when this was, like 2019 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah,
it's been that long.
It's been that long,
wow.
but it just kind of took a little while to get going because we hadn't seen each other for a little while. I mean, I think we caught up before that, but yeah, she showed me a demo of Little Secret, and it literally was like time travel. My brain went back to the 90s, to all the music that I grew up listening to, and then I really vibed it, and I was like, do you mind if I write a verse? And like, because it was a really short demo at the beginning, and she was okay with it, and then we just kind of recorded it all really quickly at David Xiao's home studio, and then shelved it for for the pandemic.
It was that trip that you were here.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Is that the first time that you've worked in the studio with her, or have you guys like jammed together?
We hadn't jammed before then.
So what was it like working with her in the studio? Like, did you find out anything new about her style and like her production?
It was really awesome to hear about and see her process. And so she just loaded up this Ableton session with all these different audio stems, and I was like, where did you get these sounds from? And so later I found out, she told me that she like programmed some stuff, and then she edited some loops from Splice, which is this really big online sound library. She's just got a real knack for finding tasteful things and then manipulating it and then turning it into tracks. And people hear it and they go, did you do the production? I'm like, well, I did a lot of it. Like I did a lot of the kind of finishing of it. I added some effects afterwards, and I definitely did a lot of arrangement, like pulling things out and then repeating some things, and then I mixed it and stuff. But the original music tracks, like the guitar, the vocal samples, the drums, it's all Kitty Purrnaz, and it's really impressive. It just sounds so fun and smooth at the same time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can totally tell like there was a lot of her in there.
Right.
Yeah, even from the get-go.
Yep.
And it was just so interesting to see you on that track as well with her. Like, I've always wondered, like, what is it like when producers work together? Like, is the collaborative process any different than if you're, like, producing for, like, another artist or, like...
Definitely. Our chemistry, I feel like, and she might, I hope she agrees, but I feel like we both tried really hard to not get in each other's way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because we both know that we can both produce and that we both write songs, and we both also, well, she's the better singer than me, but we can both write vocals and sing vocals as well. So there's just a lot of respect, I think, in the room when we were working together.
So this song was actually released under the Great Wave, which is Charlie's DAO or collective.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Charlie.
Yeah.
We have like a shout out for Charlie every time me and Krista are like filming something together.
Yeah,
I think we did it the last time as well. Yeah, but anyway, so
he's the best.
He is. Charlie fan club +1.
Yeah. I've been a fan for a long time.
Yeah, so I think the Great Wave is doing some really interesting stuff, using Web3 to create like an entirely new model for like independent artists to grow and foster creation. So, and you're someone who's been independent for like your entire career?
Almost, yeah. There's been like a couple of releases that have come out on a deal with a label.
Okay.
But even they were quite small,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Have you like ever signed or like considered signing with a label for the long term as an artist?
The closest I came was when I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
I got approached by Island Records after I self-released my first album. They wanted to take the album offline, redo the songs, repackage it, change my image, and like re-release it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, nah, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
I'm going to go finish school first, and then like university
how it goes.
first. And then, if I still want to, then I'll hit you up. And I did, actually. I went back to them,
Mm-hmm.
and the A&R person was like, just, that when people curve you, they just like avoid you. Yeah. And it's fine. I feel like I missed my chance, but then looking back, I'm really glad that I didn't get it, because being independent, the amount of awful stories I've heard of people who are signed and hate it, it's like, I'm glad I'm independent.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think it's just like that, like the music industry, and not necessarily in a good way, right? Like you always hear those stories of like, oh, that one chance, you have to like, fight for that chance and get to that point so that you can get that big break or something. But what is it about that big break that's going to cost you? You never know, right?
I guess I hold such a high value on creative freedom. And then the moment someone else lends you money to be creative, the creative freedom is now split between you and them. And, fair enough. That's their money. Like they deserve that. But often the line gets blurry and messy, and then people's feelings get hurt. It's funny.
True. Is that the main thing about being creative? I mean, being independent that works for you, or is there anything else that you really enjoy about being independent?
I mean, on reflection, now that I said it out loud, it's like I'm really sensitive about like my creative being. So when the money person comes along and tells me they don't like it, I get hurt.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
But that's the main thing.
Yeah.
I
guess so.
Cool.
Yeah. I just like to be being in control. I guess that makes me a bit of a control freak.
Aren't we all, though?
You want it done your way,
Yeah.
Sometimes if you want it done your way, you got to do it yourself. So that's where the DIY comes from, right?
Definitely. I think as someone who's been in the industry for like a while now, and I know you've like mentored younger artists and like songwriters and stuff, do you have like any suggestions or like any really important advice for like young artists who are just starting out?
I've been asked before, like, what advice do I have? It's to learn how to do as much as you can by yourself before
100%.
before reaching out to other people to help you. Because if you learn the process, when you finally do get other people to be on your team or to help you, they can't mess you over because you know
what
all the steps required to do something. So say, for example, if it's PR, if you do your own PR for a little while, it's hell. It's terrible. It's awful. But like, because you have to talk about yourself and you have to like basically rinse and repeat and personalize all these communications to like different people to get your stuff out there. But then you know that that's the kind of work that needs to be done to spread the word. So when a bad PR person does your PR and it doesn't go anywhere and all they send you is like a really basic spreadsheet of things or places that they've sent your music, you know that it's not worth the money and you can call them out on it and or just not work with them again. Or, you're a better judge of you're able to protect yourself in many more ways, basically.
Yeah, I think for me, that would actually be like the reason why I support like independent artistry the most as well. Like for me, independent artists are like entrepreneurs. Actually, all artists are entrepreneurs, I feel like, because at the end of the day, even if you're signed with a major label, the moment you leave, you then have to take care of your own career yourself.
That's right.
So I think that it's really important to like be present in the process. If you get over, then to me, to an extent, like you have to be held responsible for your own, for like what happened. Yeah.
There's a lot of integrity in that, and it happens.
It's like there's so much information like available nowadays. Yeah. Like I just think that there's always that option. Like what's stopping you from like taking it a little bit slower and not trying to accelerate and like get too many people on board? Like just understand your process before like you really step in and like make a huge decision, right?
That's right. You keep it organic, so it's when you can't handle the workload anymore, it's pulling you away from your creative work is the time when you know that maybe you do need a hand in a certain area. Like it's an interesting climate at the moment for artists. Like social media is such a heavy requirement, and you know, with labels and stuff like that, they really push that onto you, or so I hear, and there's a lot of kind of rebellion at the moment. I feel I'm seeing online as well through social media.
I guess it's kind of like the only way that labels can get artists to be accountable, like show some kind of feedback, but I mean, I don't think it's the right way to measure like accountability, but I think that may be one of the reasons, and definitely to an extent, I think it is perpetuated by the fact that we are in like a digital streaming market, because like all the time when like platforms support you, they're like, oh, we want the artist to post about the music, that kind of thing, which makes sense because they're businesses. But you know, I think it definitely, you know, exacerbates that a little bit more. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, lazy artists exist. I've worked with heaps. Like there's people who just are awful with communication and awful with getting back to you and say that they'll do something and then they don't do it, and you're just like,
yeah, we've all been there. Ghosting. Yeah, all the time. But I remember, like, when did you start working with Vivian, your manager?
I can't even remember. I can't remember. I know she was an assistant manager for a little while. If that, I can't even believe that my team had that many levels. But yeah, for a little while she was like helping my main manager do their job. And then eventually it kind of became clear to me, because I knew how to do it all. It became clear to me that Vivian was doing all the work anyway. So I was like, you should just do the job and then take 20% instead of the 10 or whatever we were splitting. I can't remember.
Yep.
But it's been, I haven't looked back. And yeah.
What was the moment for you where you were like, all right, I need to get someone to help me with my career as an artist?
I just remember replying to a lot of emails. They're just... There's so
Classic.
many
Classic
emails,
answer.
and I think after the label approach as well, because I was like, I probably felt like I messed it up a little bit, or like it would have been good to have a buffer between me
Yep,
and
some help.
and an A&R person. I think that I can see now why people want a manager probably before they're ready, because wanting the buffer is a comfort thing. It's like a blanket. But yeah, I still feel like you kind of got to brave it all yourself for a little while first, so you realize how tough it is, and you learn about yourself too in the process, and like what you're good at and what you're bad at.
Definitely.
But yeah, it was definitely the email. It was like, why is there so much unread stuff in my inbox, and I have to go through it all, and I can't just write music.
So maybe when the business aspect starts to like take over too much from the creative
That's
side of
right.
things.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting. I know you mentioned good food. Is there anything in particular you're looking forward to like having this time that you're back?
Last time I was here, I missed out on a really good miswa. There's a place called Eat Three Bowls.
Yeah.
That's meant to have.
That's
good
what I was
miswa.
thinking of. Yeah.
And I actually went there last time I was here, so a couple of months ago. But they're sold out of the miswa. So
Oh, no.
I had to settle for the chicken rice. Yeah.
Okay.
Which wasn't too bad. It was quite-
Hope you get your miswa this time then.
Thanks.
And I also heard that you're a really good cook. So I wanted to ask, like, what are your favorite, like, Southeast Asian dishes to cook?
Okay. I'm an enthusiastic cook. I wouldn't say that I'm, like, great. I like feeding people, so I really enjoy doing it. Chicken rice is probably one of my favorite things to make. Big time. And, but, like, lately, I've learned how to make a Malaysian chicken curry, like, pretty well. And I was, like, surprised by my own efforts. Because it used to be my mum could make it, and I didn't know how she made it. And I'd just be like, how did she get it like this? And then after, it took me about 2 or 3 tries, and then I got it, just in my adult life, I guess. Yeah.
Nice.
And after accumulating a few extra skills in the kitchen after cooking so much, it's like, okay, you finally learn how to do things.
Nice. I've eaten a lot of chicken curry. And the one thing I've learned is, like, everyone's chicken curry is different.
It's true.
But they can all make it nice in, like, their own unique way. If they try. If there's love in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I've learned.
Yeah. Yeah. But I've been through lots of phases with Southeast Asian cooking, like, because it actually, when I was like 24, I moved into an apartment by myself, and that was like when I really started learning how to cook at home. Before then, it was like really basic, terrible Australian teenager cooking.
Beans on toast.
Similar, tuna on rice, like.
Oh.
But I remember the first complicated thing I made was a laksa, and
That's
I
pretty
actually
complicated.
did it quite well, just because I followed the recipe
Yeah, step by step.
to the nth degree, and then it like turned into a laksa, and I was like, that tastes pretty good. Like, if I just follow the steps, I will get this result, and then from there it snowballed
Wow.
over
Sounds...
many years. Like, yeah, still lots of disasters in the kitchen.
I see. Now I'm craving laksa. My last question for you. Do you have anything you're working on at the moment that you'd like to share with our audiences?
Yes. It's been a really kind of tough year for creativity. I think a lot of people can probably sympathize with me when I say that there has been a very big lack of motivation kind of across the board. I think a lot of people have felt that way since the pandemic, and even in the 3rd year of it, you know, coming to 4 years soon. I've been chipping away slowly at a record, so that's what I'm working on in the grand scheme of things. I want to release a full-length LP. But there's a specific song on there right now that I'm chipping away at, and it's a song in Mandarin with an artist from Shanghai called Melodia Kong. And this one has also been on and off the shelf for a long time. And she's very patient with me. So I'm very grateful to even have that connection. It was thanks to you. You hooked us up.
Why do you have to I was like, look at me pretending to be surprised. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. Shout out to Giselle. Yeah, for that one. I'm in this phase where working on my own stuff, I'm finding it really hard to decide whether I like something or not. So, but I feel like I'm making progress. So I'm going to keep chipping away at it, and it should be done soon. Yeah.
We look forward to it. It's been, I think, since 2019, right? That was when the last long LP was out. Excited.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Yo, for joining us. We've
My
got
pleasure.
some snacking coming up.
Yes. Thanks for having me, Giselle.
Thanks for being here.